Give him a hand. He is originally from Chicago. He is an actor, an educator who taught in the New York public school system for 20 years. Lord help him. And he is currently an assistant professor at Seattle University. He's an organizer who directed the nonprofit that organized Seattle's 2023 bumper shoot. And in the last 4 months, he was advanced to the position of the new Creative Economy Manager, which is a new role at Seattle's Office of Economic Development. And most excited I am about, and what he's going to speak about today with us, is that he's the author of a book that dropped this week called Gotta Stay Fresh, Why We Need Hip Hop in Schools. Please join me in welcoming James Miles.
Excellent. How's everyone doing today? Hello, online audience. I'm James Miles. I'm the Fresh Professor. Let me introduce myself. Thank you, Tilly, Creative Economy Manager for the City of Seattle, and of course, Assistant Professor at Seattle University. So, let's tell a story. When I was growing up in Chicago, as a young man, I had a pretty bad speech impediment and a stutter. It was very difficult for me to talk. What I did love was Robin Williams. And I would watch Robin Williams movies, Popeye. Oh my God, Popeye is my favorite movie ever. Popeye and Mork and Mindy, and I would do these theatrical falls and prancing around the house, making my little brother and my parents laugh. And I was like, if I could keep doing this, I can entertain, I can have conversations without speaking. Then it all changed in 1985 when Lottie Dottie came out by Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh. That song blew my mind, and I would try to beatbox like Dougie Fresh and try to rap like Slick Rick, and it changed my life, because as I was doing that, my speech impediment lessened. My stutter disappeared. I was more comfortable speaking, and then I said, okay, maybe there's something else I want to do. I don't know what that is, but maybe it's performance. And then this album came out, Edutainment, in 1990. And it was a mixture between education and entertainment. And I was like, I don't know what that means yet, but I'm gonna do it. But first, I was an actor, right? So I did a couple things. I was in the original cast of In the Heights. I played Lin-Manuel's nephew, Sonny, singing and dancing and rapping on stage. A lot of great things happened. And then another thing happened that propelled me to a different career. Several things. Actually, I'm gonna talk about this one first. That's not me. I was, as a creative economy manager, my job is to inject creatives into the economy and think about the economy creatively. So one of my jobs as a struggling actor was to perform or act like I had an illness, to help resident physicians learn bedside manner. One time I think I had liver cancer or something. And I told the physician, and I said, oh, my back hurts, can you help me? And she looked at me, dead in the eyes, and says, well, you're black, so you must be a crack addict. That's your addiction. And I said, pause. You cannot say that to a patient. She says, why not? And I said, because not all black people are crack addicts. She says, oh, but that's what the book says. And I says, oh, edutainment. Okay, how do I fix this problem? So I started performing more, turned down roles that were derogatory, playing a crack addict or drug dealer, and then I started teaching a lot. And then I ended up on this TV show called The Michael J. Fox Show with Michael J. Fox and Wendell Pierce. And I was sitting having lunch with them, and Wendell was like, hey, what do you do when you're not acting? And I said, well, I'm a teaching artist. I teach in schools and help kids learn. And he says, oh man, I go back to Louisiana when I'm not acting, and I do the same thing. I love it. And I said, really? He's like, if I could do anything in the world, I'd be a teacher. And I said, oh, damn, okay. And then I looked at Michael J. Fox and I said, you're Marty McFly. Why are you doing this? You're Michael P. Keaton. He says, to put a face to Parkinson's. I want people to see what I'm doing and to not ignore the issue. And I said, thank you, Michael J. Fox. Thank you, Wendell Pierce. I quit. And I walked off set. And I called my friend and I said, hey, Michael, I just quit acting. I need a job. He's like, but you have really no experience. I said, yeah, I do. I worked once in 1995. I was an accountant. He says, yeah, that was 20 years ago. And I said, okay, just give me a chance. So he said, all right, I'll hire you to be the after-school coordinator at a high school in Brooklyn. I said, perfect. I took this job. I saw these young people struggling with their work and their studies, and I said, there's got to be a way to address this. And they were listening to hip-hop music, and so I said, all right, how do I inject hip-hop into their curriculum? So I developed this program called Fresh Education, and we started in middle school, and we brought, we made 2 albums with Talib Kweli, Sadat X, Soul Science Lab, Jadena, Busta Rhymes, and I wrote this curriculum and started teaching it in New York. And I saw these students' scores increase by 20 points. I went to DC, presented on it, and they're like, thank you, yeah. And the US Department of Education wrote this whole paper about the work I was doing. I started touring the world as a hip-hop educator. And I said, I need to put this on paper. And so I started writing this book, right? Started writing this book several years ago, pre-COVID, and then COVID hit, and I, had some mental health struggles, got divorced. That's another story, but got divorced. And so I finished this book, and it was like, it empowered me to do a lot of things. Brought me to Seattle, where I became the hip-hop educator. So to talk about this, let me demonstrate what that means. There's 5 elements of hip-hop: emceeing, DJing, graffiti, breaking, and knowledge of self. When we talk about emceeing, that's the rappers. How are students using their voice? How are you, as an educator, using your voice in the classroom? Graffiti, how are you visually representing yourself to young people? And how do you accept their representation when they bring it into the classroom? DJing, right? The art of mixing 2 unlike things together to make something brand new. That's hip-hop. Breaking, how are you using your body, literally and physically and figuratively, to show up and stand up for young people? And then lastly, knowledge of self. Who are you? Why are you doing this work? And how do you increase that sense of belonging and growth mindset for young people? And that's what I'm trying to bring to the city of Seattle with this work as a creative economy manager. We're doing a lot of great things in Seattle. We just produced the Cloud Break Festival. I know that someone from Freak Out was there, so shout out to Freak Out Festival. We did a lot of great things. We have Narcan training coming up next year. We're doing the World Cup. That's 2026. There's the Bloomberg Green Festival that's happening next year. We're doing a whole lot of things to support creatives in this economy, and I'm taking so much back from this conversation we had today and yesterday to bring back to the city of Seattle. And I'm really excited about this. So the creative economy means the world to me. My father passed away a couple of months ago, and one of his dying last words to us, my brother and myself, was just like, look, my son's the actor, my other son's a comedian. You're making the world a better place through arts. Thank you. And then he closed his eyes and died. It was quite a moving thing. So I'm hoping to bring that kind of energy to you all. So, but more importantly, let's play. I'm gonna give you a taste of what hip-hop education is like. So, we're gonna study Romeo and Juliet. What does this mean? This is crowd engagement. You can answer. 2 households, both alike in dignity. What does that mean? Class, right? Yeah, 2 examples of class, right? How about if I do this? What does that mean? That's a house. Yeah, 2 households, both alike in dignity, right? So I bring in emojis, right? Things that young people are using every day on their phones and tied in the classroom, right? And then I have them lay out the entire script using emojis. And then we have fun. Where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. For us, this is an image of Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion, kind of like Romeo and Juliet, right? So tying in what young people are listening to, what they digest on a daily basis, and bringing it into the classroom, right? Then you have them write their own ending to that play, right? Yo, what happens to Romeo and Juliet? Oh, I bet they fall in love. All right, we'll put it into a verse, write it, and then rap it back to me. I saw students who previously had no interest in Shakespeare light up, right? Like, oh yeah, I got this. And they realized, I told them, like, A$AP Rock, a hip hop artist, has invented more words than Shakespeare. Did you know that? Do you know the words eyeball comes from Shakespeare, right? Bedroom comes from Shakespeare. What else can hip hop do? We are all hip hop artists, right? As Grandmaster Caz says, hip hop didn't invent anything. It reinvented everything. So how do we bring that into the classroom? So that's it. Write a script, do your thing, and share your verse with a group of students. So I want to thank you. I'm James Miles, the Fresh Professor. It's a picture of me and my daughters from a couple years ago, hanging out. And if you want to buy my book, you can buy it right there. Thank you. Thanks, Tilly.
Thank you, James, for making a difference in the lives of our young people. It's people like you that inspire me and that help me to really stay committed to this work.